Even though David was captain of his country, Beckham still remained unpopular with fans of many other clubs. In 2001, there was a chance to change all that. England needed to draw with Greece to qualify for the World Cup finals, and many thought David Beckham had something to prove.
I just remember it was one of the first games that I saw David Beckham take the game by the scruff of the neck and say, I'm in control of this game. I'm going to do what it takes to get us through to the championship.
Beckham led by example by giving a performance of his life, but in injury time England were losing 2-1 and about to lose out on going to the World Cup.
Foul on Sheringham, free kick.
Yeah, I think that time round you looked at it and you thought, no, this is Beckham's. I remember Teddy stepping up and going, look, you've had umpteen chances, mate, you've missed them all, let me step and take the pressure off you. And he just, you know, pushed Teddy away, said, no, this is mine. And at the time he thought, yeah, this is destined for the top corner.
Beckham could raise the roof here with a goal.
And that's exactly what David Beckham did. And you couldn't have written the script any better than him to step up, the time that was left for him to bend that free kick in the top corner and run away and celebrate. That was David Beckham's game, and it was the re-emergence of David Beckham after '98.
David Beckham scores the goal to take England all the way to the World Cup finals.
All was forgiven. Shortly after the Greece match, Beckham was named the BBC Sports Personality of the Year.
World Cup '98 was certainly a low point for David in his footballing career, but he did go on to prove that he has what it takes to come back against adversity, and he even made that sending off in the World Cup part of the subject of a recent commercial he did for Adidas, and I definitely think that he did go on to be a bigger and a better person, and the fact that he showed humility and was able to take something from it and learn from it made him a better person, and with hindsight made Brown Beckham even stronger than it was at that point.
You will go through tough times. It's about coming through that.
David had proven himself on the pitch. His appeal was now international, and Brown Beckham continued to grow. Beckham is very much a man of the new media age, and unlike great England players of the past, he's become a very global celebrity. He's endorsed some of the most famous products in the world.
I think that everything that David Beckham endorses is almost sprinkled with this magic dust, that it just flies out of the shop. So whether that's, you know, the Adidas kit he wears, Gillette, police sunglasses, he is a marketing man's dream, and the reason why he can command such huge figures to endorse brands is because these brands get a return on investment.
There are three things that generally people associate with him as attributes, values, and they appeal across the board. And that is his dedication, which he's shown again by coming back to the sport. His design, his sense of fashion, which makes him extremely popular to lots of different types of what marketers call demographics. But also this somewhat paradoxical, down-to-earth quality about him. And if you spoke to anybody who's worked with him, that's what comes across. He goes down brilliantly in Asia because he's not a flash Harry. He's very, very humble when he talks.
Beckham's mass appeal spread to the Far East, where he's mobbed by fans.
I love Beckham is a great player.
David Beckham's always had a massive appeal in the Far East, and I think part of that is as a result of his poster boy looks, and I think the Japanese in particular and Malaysians really look up to him and see him almost as an idol that they can worship.
He's even been given the unlikely honour of having a statue dedicated to him in a Buddhist temple in Thailand.
นิช่างที่ปั้นรูปต่างๆเนี่ยเราไปกั้นความรู้สึกของเขาไม่ได้ว่าความรู้สึกในการฝังใจความรู้สึกในการบูชาฮีโร่เนี่ย
Beckham's fame has become so widespread, he's even inspired movies. While there was no doubting Beckham's mass appeal around the world, there was one very important person who was beginning to get fed up with his jet-set celeb lifestyle. Alex Ferguson had never taken kindly to the outside influences in Beckham's life. The tension between Fergie and Beckham increased and was about to come to a head. Ferguson blamed Beckham for an FA Cup defeat by Arsenal, the tension exploded after a dressing room bust-up between the two that stunned the nation.
Sir Alex Ferguson didn't try to deny it. He did kick a football boot that hit David Beckham in the head.
The man who broke the story was journalist Neil Custis.
Once I'd heard about what had happened in that dressing room, you know this is massive. I mean, this is huge. This is the biggest manager in the country, in Europe, and the most famous player in the world. And one of them's kicked a boot at the other.
The manager's probably come in, lost his temper, and lashed out at the first thing that's got in his way, which happens to be a football boot.
Later, we found out that there had actually been a confrontation between the two in which they had to be pulled apart. It's gone off, and he knows it's gone off, and the repercussions are going to be huge.
But Ferguson refused to apologise.
It was a graze, and he's dealt with the doctor. There's no problem. And we move on. And that's all there is to be said for it.
Beckham struck back with a photo opportunity of his own.
On the Monday, David Beckham drives out of his new residence in Alderley Edge and stops, and the photographers take pictures of him. The sunshade he normally has down is up. Clear shots of him. He decides to wear a hairband, scraping his hair back off his forehead to clearly show this cut on his head.
Ferguson is famous for using intimidatory tactics to show his players who's boss.
You don't want to cross him, because if you cross him, you're out of Man U, and you don't want to leave Man U.
Beckham's courting of the media was a step too far for Ferguson. There was endless debate whether Beckham could repair the relationship with his mentor, or whether he'd be sold to one of the various big clubs who were now trying to buy him.
Good evening. After weeks of fevered speculation and false trails, it's official tonight, and David Beckham, the England football captain, is going to Real Madrid.
£25 million transfer to Madrid was reported as the dream move.
Joining Real Madrid is a dream come true. Gracias. A la Madrid.
Thousands flocked as Beckham was unveiled to the Real Madrid fans.
As Beckham ran over to them, one young fan could be seen scrambling under the security fences and heading straight for his new hero. You'd have thought they were long-lost friends. Beckham shooed away the security guards and kept the boy with him, even getting him his spare shirt. It was a PR man's dream.
Beckham would now be playing in a team of all-stars, which included the best players in the world like Zidane and Ronaldo.
Running out for Real Madrid with these sort of players and this team and in front of 90,000 fans is going to be an amazing experience.
They say that while David Beckham was there, Real Madrid was paying Ronaldo's and Zinedine Zidane's salary with the merchandising that David Beckham was bringing into the clubs.
Real Madrid was desperate to break into the North American market and was desperate to increase its market share in Asia. And to that extent, getting Beckham was really the completion of this plan in marketing terms.
A pre-season tour of Japan and China saw Madrid and Beckham win thousands of new supporters.
Certainly the big challenge for Beckham when he came to Madrid was that it wasn't just going to be about selling shirts. It wasn't simply going to be a commercial enterprise. He was going to have to prove himself as a player in this club with an extraordinary weight of history behind it.
Despite Beckham playing well, Real Madrid failed to win any trophies. In 2003, Beckham got an OBE, an honour given by the Queen for exceptional services to his country. He returned back to England to collect his award, and he had to fend off questions about marriage problems.
There were reports in the papers of the weekend you're going to renew your wedding vows.
Supposedly, that's the first I've heard about it. We don't need to do that.